This podcast is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn about how you can get over a dozen bonus episodes, including today's special bonus episode where we did some commentary over top of some Nickelodeon classic shows, as well as more than a dozen movies like Die Hard and Top Gun and so many other wonderful things. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn about all the bonus content you can get for $5 a month, as well as the custom RSS feed you can drop into your favorite podcast player, including Spotify. That's patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Welcome to a very special, actually on Christmas episode of Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Rapping Powers, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, the Macho Man Drew, a man who would absolutely have shot his eye out.
Andrew Lano. You might want to say we're rapping, like put a "w" on it.
With a W, yeah, W.
Yeah.
We're rapping. I remain mystified that the waitress's Christmas rapping with a W has not been made into a holiday film. Feels like a no-brainer.
You're right. It does.
It cannot possibly cost that much to license the song. Like, what are we even doing?
Maybe they don't want to. Or maybe someone's offered and they're like, that's kind of the point of the song is that it's aggressively stupid. Like, that people get too worked up about the holidays.
But here's the thing. I don't think any of the waitresses are in a position to be like, no, I don't want $10,000.
I don't know. Maybe they have integrity.
I mean? Like if somebody,
it's like when they made made that stupid animated Grinch movie like 5 years ago, and it was like, merchandising, and I was like, oh, you mean literally the opposite of the message of the Grinch?
But like, look, if someone knocks on the door, hey, excuse me, we just love your character, the Uber driver who shows up to take people out of movies that they've been in and just so they're not in the movie anymore. We'd love to do a holiday special about the Uber driver and like him finding the Christmas spirit. We'd like to pay you $10,000. Is there any world in which we're not like,
our Uber driver character is just a stupid character we end up?
But so is the song Christmas Rapping.
The song is about the fact that people aren't enjoying the holidays or just getting through it.
I don't think that they created that song with like that much thought put into it. I think it was like we need you to knock out a Christmas song for us for some contractual obligation.
I just read about it because now the song is in the rotation for the month, and it was basically they were like, "Oh, we want you to make a Christmas song for this Christmas album," and they were like, "We're touring, like we're busy, we don't have time." And they were like, we really want you to do it. And so they were like, well, all of my friends now they're not no one's enjoying Christmas season. They're like, I gotta put my head down and just get through it. Like it's a chore more than an enjoyment.
Yeah.
So the song is about how it's just a chore. Like it's not, oh, how wonderful Christmas is. It's I had a fucking miserable year. I want to be alone.
So that's really interesting to me because I feel like the narrative in that song is not about misery. It's about the guy that they've been trying to get a date with all year long.
Yeah, but they're so fed up with how like tiring it is. Like, I just want to be alone this year.
Yeah, all reasonable. I just like in listening to that song many times in the course of my life, I've always read it as someone who's just like, it's been a long year. I've been busy. I'm glad to kick my feet up. I'm not going out for Christmas tonight. Not like, fuck this Christmas spirit shit, which in the way you're saying it seems like the second thing.
I think it's supposed to be a little more the second thing. Maybe not as aggressively, but
I feel like all the lyrics are about like the guy, Christmas by myself this year. It's not like miserable. It's like, I've got the world's smallest turkey, but I forgot the cranberry sauce. It's like, I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a fuck the Christmas spirit song to me. It's not like,
I think it's more the overall point is that it's not, oh, how lovely Christmas is. Like, that's not the point of the thing.
No, I don't want the movie to be that. I want the movie to be a couple. No, but the couple, it's like this couple.
I hate to break it to you, but that's what the movie's gonna be when a Hallmark or Lifetime or Peacock Original or Netflix or Hulu gets their fucking claws into it.
Nah. Because Christmas is only going to be like the last 14 minutes.
It can't be.
When it's like...
It's going... No, you know what it's going to be?
See, look, the opening... Here's how the movie ends.
I'm telling you what's going to happen. The opening credit montage is going to be the first 3 minutes of the song, and then the rest of the movie is the last 30 seconds of the song.
I feel like that's a poor use of source material because you get the whole movie in that song.
It is, but I'm telling you it's going to happen because stop acting like you don't know how awful corporate CEOs work.
They're in the A&P line. They like, oh my God, it's him. And they laugh and they each have the cranberry sauce. And then they like check out and she scans it and he's like, oh, actually, these are together. And then he puts his up and then he pays for the 2 cans of cranberry sauce.
And then she goes, actually, I wanted to be alone. Thanks for paying for my cranberries. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hold on. He says, what time's your turkey done? I've got 20 minutes. And she says, let's get a drink. And they walk arm in arm into the bar next door.
I thought her turkey was done. And then she realized there was no cranberries.
Well, I'm taking some creative license and translating the song from
and I'm saying stop acting like you don't know what the Zaslavs of the world are like. And what, like...
I'm just saying, I think there's a good movie in there.
If they premiered a Hallmark movie in December where the entire thing was not Christmas time, I feel like people will get very mad.
Well, maybe you have to put it on like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime. They all make them now.
They do.
Like this year we had Eddie Murphy had one. Melissa McCarthy had
5 this year. Like more with like A/B list stars than I've noticed.
Yep.
Before it was like Lindsay Lohan's Little Vehicle or like the gay Netflix one, which had Jennifer Coolidge, and you're like, all right. She's not an A-lister.
I mean, the Lindsay Lohan one is Netflix do but it's Netflix doing a Hallmark movie. Yeah, the Eddie Murphy, Melissa McCarthy ones are a little bit more real movie.
They're more like Noelle than.
Yes, yeah. There's like an actual movie.
The Disney Plus movie like Noelle. I realized maybe that was not as clean for everybody.
But there's like a conflict, and then people have to solve it. Usually, it's not like the Hallmark movies are just like a series of events.
There's conflict in those. Usually, it's a big business.
They never get to the like rom-com moment that's like, oh shit, it's the end of Act 2. Now we hate each other and we have to get back together. Like
it's not always the couple has something. It's usually an outside force on the couple.
Yes, but even the outside forces like don't. It's not like the couple can't be together. It's like, oh, the boss is calling and the article's due today, not tomorrow. Also, whatever. The Christmas parade is happening now. I don't want to stay inside. I have to go to the parade. Like there's never the moments are so fleeting. It's not like, I feel like in a rom-com, a genre I've watched hundreds of, it's like normally the bad thing happens and there's like 4 scenes where they're sad. And in the Hallmark version, it's like 14 seconds. And they're like, oh, nope, gotta go to the parade. What am I thinking?
Oh, I wish I could remember all the words of that ridiculous thing I sent you where it's like the mistletoe town tree lighting gingerbread contest ice skating competition gala, but longer than that.
Yeah. Anyway, it is 8.5 minutes into this episode, and we haven't done the most important part, which is to say, we watched A Christmas Story celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. And you know what that means.
In tonight's performance of Dissecting the 80s, the role of Doc Brown will be portrayed by Trip Lano.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your Christmas marathon. Something's got to be done about your Christmas marathon.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Thank you. Oh, that's a bouquet of roses. Wow.
Bouquet of roses? What year do you think it is, buddy?
That's what you give people after they do a performance.
Yeah, in like 1940.
Yeah, and? Look, you mean to tell me if it was feasible for you to give your favorite star of the Broadway a bouquet after they came out the stage door, you wouldn't do it?
A bouquet for someone I don't actually know is kind of weird. For like a famous person, like me as a nobody getting a bouquet seems lovely. But like,
yeah,
me handing Bernadette Peters a whole bouquet is like,
I think Bernadette Peters would be like,
giving it to her assistant. Like, she's not going to her house.
Depends on how nice the flowers are. If they're from Trader Joe's, probably. If it's a bouquet of lilies you paid a lot of money for, maybe they do go to her house.
My flowers come from, it's not farmers. What is, Produce Junction, usually.
Okay.
Or if there's a sale at like Giant or something.
Trader Joe's here. It used to be Aldi. They stopped carrying them near me. Oh. Well, my Aldi used to have very nice flowers, and then they stopped.
Yeah, very briefly, mine had some flowers, but then I'm like, it's just this area is not a flower area.
Yeah, well, it's just like great impulse purchase for the partner if your partner likes flowers. Like, yeah, $4,
we love flowers
$5.
In our
house. Why not? Anyway, this is a movie that I feel like for a long time I said I didn't like, and I've softened a bit on that.
I think it's just not my favorite Christmas movie.
I agree with that. But my thing with this is just like, you can't get away from the damn thing.
No.
And it's like, at least in our house. And so our grandmother, she loved this movie, and she would watch.
Because she stayed over Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. So usually,
but like
about when our Christmas Eve family party was ending around like, I don't know, 6, 7, that's when she would turn it on, and it wouldn't really come off until,
Yeah. And then that was on again in the morning post presents being opened. Mm-hmm. And then usually it was like, we got to switch over to the Disney parade.
Yeah.
Which, maybe future commentary.
Maybe the one I was in.
I was thinking more of one from the 80s, but
either one.
We could maybe we'll cut in the clip of you into a vintage one. The vintage ones are way more fun. I think I've talked about this before.
They're more like actual parades. They're not called parades anymore. They're called like Christmas celebrations.
But also there's like pure chaos in them. Like there's very little oversight and planning. If you're interested in this kind of weird nonsense, we did a really fun commentary on the Golden Girls Disney World special, which has a lot of this energy. But the parades, it's often Regis like running around with a camera being like, hey, I'm here with the Williams family from Norfolk, Virginia. Hey, Williams family, how's your Christmas been?
He's doing the Roker in the Macy's parade, basically.
Yes, but it doesn't appear that the people he's interviewing knew that Regis was coming over.
Yeah.
Like when Al goes over to someone in the Macy's parade, there's been a producer that talked to them, then a second producer talked to them, then a third producer Googled their name to make sure one of them didn't have like child pornography charges. Like a whole bunch of vetting is done. And this was just like, here's 5 awestruck Iowans who are standing next to the parade. Hey, here's a camera. Tell me about yourselves.
But like I said, they're also not parades anymore. They're called celebrations because legally, it's one of those like legally they can't call them parades anymore because it's like they film, I don't know, 5 minutes of like 4 floats and then all the rest of it is just celebrities performing, which is fun. It's fun to see performances, but they're not parades. Right.
There was a lot of musical stuff back in the day, too. It just has a fun chaos energy. Anyone you find with Regis is a good watch. But anyway, so this movie was on all the time. And it's one of those, I have become someone who, you ebb and flow in as a movie person. I had a lot of rewatch. I was a hardcore rewatcher. And then I became like not a rewatcher for like a 10 or 12 or 15 year period. And now I'm like easing back into being more of a rewatcher, but sort of like splitting the difference in that. There's very few things I have that are annual watches that are like a purposeful annual watch.
Trick or Treat. My wife really likes watching Halloween. I tend to watch. I watch Trick or Treat on Halloween every year, and Halloween I will watch a couple days before or on Halloween.
So we have made it a tradition to watch Halloween after the trick or treaters come through. We didn't do that this year because we did our bonus episode. Visit Patreon for that as well. But as I was watching it this year, I was like, I could probably take a few years off of this bad boy. Like my wife likes to watch it. It's a great movie. I love it. But I was just like, if I took 3 years off, it would probably be for the better for me with this movie, which is a movie I love very much. And so Christmas is a time where most of the time people are just rewatching stuff. I feel like that's like a pretty, like one of the more common times is like everyone, you've got it in your family out there in listener land.
Well, it's because Christmas movies are a genre. And Halloween movie isn't really a genre, but horror movies
scary movie,
sort of associated with. Whereas, like, that's why I like to watch like a Halloween movie. To me, is like it can be scary. It doesn't have to be, but like, Hocus Pocus is a Halloween.
It takes place on or around Halloween.
Like it has to, like Halloween, the holiday, the day, the date has to feature prominently and be a key factor.
Yeah. this is sort of like the, every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square thing.
You can watch any scary movie at Halloween, and it's a fun time to be scared. But like,
sure.
Like Hocus Pocus, Halloween, Trick or Treat, these are all Halloween movies. But like Christmas movie is like a very specific genre, and like they're all paper thin. Like let's call them what, like every single. And that's like this includes my favorites. They're all paper thin. Because it's gossamer, as I said on Seinfeld, and one doesn't dissect gossamer. It's just a pretty thing to look at for a little while and have fun and sit warmth by the fire.
I actually, I would disagree with you slightly on this movie anyway, in that like I think what makes this movie interesting, the older you get as you watch it, is how it's a lot more warts and all of the holiday season than most of this stuff, and I feel like a lot of things that purport to be the warts and all stuff go too far the other way, where it's like kind of a sad bastard thing. Last year the last couple of years, my wife had not watched a ton of Christmas movies. Like she had seen some and like had her roster, but she's like, I feel like there's a lot of these I haven't watched. Do you want to like check some off? And I was like, this is like my least favorite genre movie, but sure. And I like came up with a big list, and we kind of have worked our way through it. And
like the whole list last year, or it's like a list for every year to come back to and pluck a few?
I just made a huge list of Christmas movies, and it was like, we'll just cross ones off and whatever. She made it 15 minutes into this one and was like, I don't want to watch this. And I was like, that checks. Like, I didn't think you would, but we watched, what the hell is the one with Sarah Jessica Parker?
Oh, The Family Stone?
Luke Wilson. Yes. Watched that last year, and like I remember liking that movie, and when I watched it last year, I fucking hated it. I was like, this sucks. Everybody's an asshole. Like all these people are mean, and it's like the whole idea is the same, like warts and all.
They're mean to Sarah
Jessica
Parker, who is also kind of mean.
Yes, no, everyone in the movie is an asshole except for the pothead brother,
the gay brother,
just like floating around. No, the pothead brother.
Well, the gay brothers aren't too mean, I guess. I don't think
the gay brothers are barely in the movie. Honestly,
they're there so that they could pat themselves in the.
Well, I guess it's not the gay. Sorry, it's not the gay. Yeah. Also, I don't want to. We need to talk about this movie.
Well, it's a fun holiday episode. Let it be what it is.
Yeah, it's fine. I also really, it bothers me in that movie that they were like, it just feels very cynical to me. They're like, what if the gay people were also, what the gay brother was also deaf? Like it just feels like a very much like a twofer.
Yeah, they're breaking their arm, patting themselves in the back that they included gay people in the movie.
Also, shouldn't have said gay brothers. It's a gay brother, and he is
the gay couple that includes a brother.
The gay couple, right? But I said gay brothers.
Oh, I think I said it too. I think I said it first. It's fine.
Yeah, you might have said singular brother, whatever it is. Anyway, he is fine. He is not mean because he's barely in the film. But it's just like everybody's a jerk, and like. I also think Sarah Jessica Parker character is a jerk, but like she's clearly trying, and everyone is just it's very clear people have decided to be like, well, fuck you, bitch, before she shows up, and then she shows up and it's like, oh hey, this sucks. I don't want to be here. But that movie's insane because the whole idea of a
Kim
pair
Cattrall
of siblings
emailed them all before she got there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let me tell you something about this bitch. And then this they also got a letter from a young boy who was like, once I got sent to space because of the recklessness of this person's behavior. It's cold and flu season here on Dissecting the 80s. I thought that one would get you.
It did.
Yeah. But to get back somewhat on track, this movie definitely does the like, there's like, as an adult, as a parent, Christmas is like very different. It's stressful. And I feel like this movie brings a lot of that to the table in really nice ways that are like nice filmmaking moments and nice little moments between the characters and stuff in ways that I think are like very appreciable. But if you watch this movie 8 times a year, you don't like appreciate the nuance the same way. So
like that's why with the merit, like sitting down and watching the same movie over and over again is kind of wild. Like watching it a couple times a year, whatever, but like in succession like that, like just now that I'm an adult, that's not something I would do. As a child, I get it, sure, but
yeah. I mean, I really think the reason they do that is it started as a gimmick they played this movie a whole bunch, and then I think someone probably was like, what if we just played it 12 times in a row? And then that became the marketing for it. I don't think most people are watching the movie on a loop. I think people are like, oh, I'll watch 10 minutes of this and then go, do something else and come back, and it's like a different 10 minutes
on at a party with the volume low situation.
Yeah.
Although I will say this.
I will also say about
if you have a party and you want a little something on the TV background, go to YouTube, pull up vintage Christmas commercials, because it's wild and stupid, and also like people might be like, oh, I recognize that brand. Look at this weird old commercial for Cheez-Its or whatever.
Yeah. The other thing about this movie, and we've mentioned this a few times lately, but I think this movie is definitely one of them. It is, I don't know that it was done intentionally, although it certainly could have been. If this movie came out now, I would be like, if this movie came out in 2005, I would have been like, oh, this is so on purpose. This movie is so segmenty and so perfect for cable, because it's very much like a vignette that happens and then transition to the next scene, and then it's sort of like its own independent vignette, and then transition to the next scene. And there's even a moment right after, I want to say, I think it's the first time they come across Scott Farkas. They get away from him, and then he's coming home, and the line that Gene Shepard is like, things move fast in Kid Kingdom, and it's like him coming home, looking in the mailbox for the decoder ring. Yeah, which I think it's the first time when it's not there yet, but it's just like the movie even being like, we're onto a new thing. Forget that. It's fine.
Yeah. Do you remember any of your like Red Ryder BB gun Christmas wish toys?
Like the big,
like your big tick, like this is the thing I want.
The G.I. Joe headquarters.
Did we have that one? I knew we had the one that reacted with the TV. That wasn't G.I. Joe.
So that was a different thing that was much later. The headquarters was the thing that folded up and then could fold out.
Like a briefcase, or like?
No. It was like a, it's not at all like a briefcase. It was like a pretty large play set. It was probably 2 feet high, and probably when you unfolded the wings, like 3 feet wide or so.
Was it like a plane, or like a?
No, it was like a compound. And it folded up so you could put it away better.
I don't remember this toy at all.
It had like a jail. It had like a little platform elevator. It was kind of like the Ghostbusters firehouse. Like, do you remember that? We didn't have that, but
I remember that existed.
So it was like a dollhouse, this thing, except that like when it was folded up, it was like a square.
I'll have to look for this in one of our videos.
And then the things flipped down. These side things flipped down, and they were like kind of side parts to the base. And it had a jail, and had like a little pit that you could put the bad guys in, and had like all these stations with missile launchers and stuff. That was definitely a huge Christmas one. For you, big one I really remember is the smoking grill.
So
you were
I don't remember.
4 or 5 years old.
I don't remember if I asked for that toy.
Oh, dude,
but I remember my reaction to the toy.
You were so wanting this thing. It was really? An object of desire.
I have no memory of like it begging for the toy itself, but I remember the video on Christmas of my reaction to it. The smoking reel.
That reaction was because you were like, the thing that I wanted is here. Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, it was a Fisher Price or Little Tikes or
something like that. Like a kid kid kitchen, but it was a grill.
Yeah, it was a big blue grill. And you could put like little plastic meats on it, and there you put. I'm assuming like a fog machine liquid in there. I don't know.
I remember it being a small vial, and I remember it being in such limited quantity that it was like, you can't use this every time you play with it.
Yeah.
And also that had like a twisty knob.
It was real satisfying.
Kind of made this, but it also kind of made the sound of sizzling and popping. Like, kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So I remember that being like you would, twist the thing.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one.
Yeah, there are many others, kid presents that I have fond memories for. But the one, that was one that I feel like was like, oh man, yes. Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot of the ones I remember. I wanted the Teen Titans Tower, which I think I thought was going to be like your G.I. Joe thing, but then I got it and it wasn't that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got duped.
Yeah, so you could put the little, it was like for, I don't know, the 4-inch action, 6-inch, whatever, the G.I. Joe-ish size action figure.
3 3/4.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, it's a tower. It's the Titan's tower. It's a big T. I'll be able to play with them in it. No, it was a T. You could put them in the base and take an elevator to the top of it, and they would be on the top of the T. But you couldn't put them inside it and do shit.
So it was just like a T with an elevator,
and then I think it could launch vehicles off the sides of the T.
That's a bad toy.
I was like, I remember wanting it so bad, and then I got it and being like, oh.
I don't remember this toy.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Teen Titans probably would have been like...
This feels like last gasp of toys.
Yeah. This is like a 6th, 7th grade situation, I think.
Okay. This feels like you get it and you're like, oh shit, am I too old for this?
I don't think I was too old for this. I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And then I was probably like, oh, wait a minute. Is this what growing up is?
Another one I remember for you is the motorcycle bike.
Oh, yeah, my motorcycle bike.
Was when you were like super jazzed about, and then like the unveiling was really cool.
I don't remember the unveiling.
Like it was in the garage wrapped in a trash bag, probably because it was so big.
I have to look up this video. I have to watch the video now.
I don't have that. This is not a video. This is off my noodle.
I know, but if it was a Christmas present, it was on video.
Yeah, I thought it was a Christmas present. Maybe it was a birthday. Maybe it was a birthday gift. Yeah, I just remember it being a gift to you. I mean, frankly, it's possible G.I. Joe was a birthday, not a
That's
Christmas. True. But I remember it being a gift. I feel like I got a bike once or twice for Christmas that was really exciting.
That makes sense.
That was like a big... I remember getting that weird mountain bike I had where like the frame had a big shock absorber in it.
Oh, yeah. What were we doing with that? A lot of high hopes for you.
I think... we always had mountain bikes, which in hindsight is stupid. Like it would have been much better to have a more road-like bike. But also, for whatever reason, I've run into this as an adult. It's like you can't buy a cheap-ass road bike. You can only buy a cheap-ass mountain bike or a beach cruiser.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Anyway, I in watching this movie, I wanted to talk about this. So I have a Roku TV, so it's got the Roku apps built into it. And there was an ad on there for this streaming service called Christmas Plus.
I've heard of this. Free. It's supposed to have all the Christmas classics, and it has 2 Christmas classics and a bunch of Hallmark movies.
Well, it has this movie, which is insane because like this movie is under license to the Warner Corporation, so it's on Max and TBS and the like. So there's no way they carved out an exemption for this, and it's like a very low quality version of it that's on there. But also, it has a shitload of ads, so I ended up not watching it on there and getting frustrated. But the first ad that happened was a pop-up over the film, like not a pause, and here's an ad. It was like, this ad is like screened over top of it for a spice mix called Fuego Rita. And it's functionally like powder.
For the rim of your margarita?
It's like, that's what this one was for, yes, but their line, it's basically hot sauces as powder.
Oh, like a tahini.
So it's like seasoning blends that are they're all very spicy. But yeah, this one was for putting on the edge of your margarita. But I was just like, how is this?
Who is the target
ad you
here?
wanted? But yeah, on a Christmas movie, it's like, nobody in this movie has seen a hot pepper. Are you kidding me? These people would be like, oh, this is so spicy. Like, oh, sir, I put 1 twist of black pepper on your Caesar salad. No, well, it's an edible now.
Wheat bread. I don't need spicy food.
Exactly. I have a lot of things to say about the food in this movie. My God.
I will say the turkey looked good.
It is a great looking turkey. I have
not much
nice
else
things to say about the turkey. Not much nice to say
other
than the turkey.
The grog and the slop.
Yeah. The store window displays are pretty great here in the opening. A lot of care put into this movie. And
it's set in 1940, but it came out in 83, yes. And this is why we kind of avoided the movie, because period pieces are just kind of a weird spot.
Yeah. Right. And it's also like not really talking about the 80s and stuff, but this, Christmas is always a hard time to program on the show. I'm sure there are people screaming like, fucking Scrooge came out in 83, you assholes. I was like, Andrew doesn't like Bill Murray. I don't.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Andrew, I have tried so many avenues to be like, hey, how about this Bill Murray? And he just doesn't like
every
Bill
flavor
Murray,
of Bill. It's like cilantro.
Yeah, there's not been a Bill Murray that you even want to tolerate.
Zombieland.
Which is a bummer for me.
Zombieland has the perfect amount of Bill Murray for me. About 5 minutes.
So we'll get to Scrooge one day. But this is directed by Bob Clark, the guy who directed 2 completely different Christmas classics, this and the original Black Christmas from 1974.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and he has a cameo in the movie. Yes. He has a cameo in the movie where he plays the neighbor who's like watching him on the street.
Oh, he's the one who says, "What is
Bob
that?"
Clark.
That guy?
Yes, yeah, yep. He also looks quite a bit like Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie, but as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like kind of amused by that. But the opening bit here I really enjoy. He's got his ad for the Red Ryder BB gun, and he takes Mom's magazine and he very carefully like tucks it in and lines up the edges.
It's so silly to me, the idea of subliminally telling your parents what you want for Christmas. Like,
yeah. Well, I think it's like he's working on like a PSYOP campaign where it's like, I'm telling her I want this, but then I got to have it like tucked in here.
Gotcha.
He sees that this woman is doing all of the work to run this household, that she needs maybe a little bit of help.
Yeah. You know what also helps? A list. A handwritten list.
Very helpful.
Or a magazine filled with stickers, if it was the 90s or the early aughts,
yes,
like I used to do with the Toys R Us one.
Yeah. Or a marker, a Sharpie, little check boxes.
But it was nice when they started giving the stickers. It was fun. It felt like an experience.
Yeah. We got the Amazon sent one.
Oh, like, we didn't get that for some reason.
I don't think it was this year. I think it was 2 years ago that we got that, but they sent one out, and I flipped through it, and it was like, this is a nice thing that I remember doing and enjoying very much. I think the parents in this are really great. They're wildly far apart in age, the actors. She's 17 years younger than he is,
really?
Which is not like, yeah. So they really like frazzle her up and then clean him up.
No offense intended to her, but she definitely doesn't look that much younger than him. Like I would say it looks like a 7 to 10 year age difference.
Yeah, which is funny because in Slapshot, which I'm like 90% sure is 1975, she kind of plays like a babe, and that's only 8 years previous.
And then 8 years after this, she was in 8 years, 10 to 12 years after this, she was in Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
Okay.
As someone in town.
She, in Slapshot, plays a player's wife who gets very lonely when he's on his road trips and ends up sleeping with another player's wife. The two women get together. And also she's cheating with Paul Newman, who plays for an opposing team. And she tells him this story, and it leads to a very famous scene in the movie, which is, of course, deeply problematic in 2023, where he goes behind the net to this woman's husband, and he starts taunting him about the activities his wife has participated in when he's on the road, and it makes the goalie so mad he skates out of the net and tries to decapitate Paul Newman.
All right.
So inappropriate, but funny. But yeah, if you're a fan of Melinda Dillon, that's where you can see more of her, literally and figuratively. I love the she's barely paying attention to the sports. Like this is like a recurring theme of like, oh, so I see the Bears are playing Chicago this Sunday, eh? Or whatever, or like the husband's grumbling about something, and she's doing that thing which is like a supportive partner thing where it's like she doesn't give a shit about this thing, but she knows that her partner wants to be heard, so she's just saying exactly enough to let them get their thing out without having to it's like, look, I'm providing a service to you here,
or providing just enough distraction.
Yeah, it's very kind, it's just disconnected a little bit. And I love the dad is doing this puzzle, and
it's for money.
It is for money, but he's asking the New York Times giant crossword has a cash prize at the end every year.
I didn't know that.
There's like a cryptic clue hidden in it, and if you get that and email it in, they choose one of those people at random.
That's cool.
I think it's like $1,000 they give you.
Wow.
Yeah. But he's looking for the name of the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse, and this is, I think, the best joke in the movie, where she's like, oh, what's the theme of the puzzle? And he says, great characters in American fiction. And then she starts to be like, the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse is in a puzzle about the great characters in American fiction? Really good stuff. Also, great stuff. impressive to be able to get the role of narrating your own book as it's turned into a movie.
Yeah.
It's not just the audiobook narration, but also doing it here.
Yeah, the ultimate ruse.
Yeah. This is Gene Shepard, who Disney nerds also recognize from the Carousel of Progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I tried to Google this. I swear the voice that yells at Ralphie when he gets in line for Santa is Gene Shepard.
Well, it's physically him.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So he shows up in person.
I said
as
voice,
that,
the guy.
Mostly is.
That was not listed on IMDb or anything I was looking at.
No,
so
it's on Wikipedia.
I had not gotten there. I figured you might have. So
yeah, and he's also father in the Carousel of Progress.
Yes,
John,
that's right.
Dear.
Yes. So we get our first many fantasy sequences for Ralphie. I think the Melinda Dillon and Darren McGavin is the man who plays the father. The two of them are really good in these fantasy sequences. I think it's like an interesting thing they get to do in their
camp. It's like
yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah,
Ralphie's in Sequins and Fringe. Like I'm a little
he's
surprised
got a real Roy Rogers.
These aren't in black. They didn't go black and white for the vignettes.
Yeah. It feels like they may have thought about it because of the way that the robbers are in like the black and white stripes and stuff.
And they've got they already have that I don't know, what's the vignetted haze in the
yes
in the Murder, She Wrote title sequence.
Yes. Also, it was very funny to me. Another thing I noticed on this watch, if you had asked me if there was anybody in this movie who wasn't white, I would have laughed.
Honestly, same. I had the same exact reaction.
And in the beginning, when we go to the parade at Christmas time, I assume it's roughly Black. It's probably a little later than Black Friday, but the chorus has quite a diverse cast of people, and then two or three of these bad guys are black, and I was just like, huh. If you gun to my head, I'd have been like, oh, surely that's a movie that's all white people.
Yeah, I saw the black robber, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. Also, really great stunt where the performer leaps over the fence onto the horse in sort of one fell swoop.
Yeah, that's good.
Very cool looking.
And then at the end, all the robbers have their eyes closed with big black X's drawn on their eyes.
I thought it was pieces of licorice in there, honestly.
I wish.
And then we get the part which is me. I see myself in this movie in a couple of places. One of them is getting so angry at the inanimate object you're working on that you're just doing a
tapestry of obscenities.
Yes, that's a great bit of writing there. I was recently doing something to repair a toilet that had a slow leak inside it, and I was trying to tighten the water source back to the toilet, and I could not get the damn thing to tighten all the way. Mm-hmm. And then I kept turning it on and it would spray me. And I was just like, mother. And my wife was like, is everything okay? And I'm like, I just can't get this to turn. She's like, why? I was like, because my finger hurts and I just can't turn it. And so I ended up getting a towel and solving the problem. But in the meantime, I just swore a lot.
Oh, yeah. A lot of loud swearing.
Yeah. We're bundling up for school. I always Gore-Tex. Find this really silly. But also, you don't need to put on the snow suit to go to school. The snowsuit is to play in the snow and frolic
Randy
about.
Is also a thin, tiny little thing. Like me, when I was a wee thing.
I'm saying you got your coat and you send them out with the coat and just their pants, and they suck it up and they deal with it.
Yeah, but I think when your child is that wayfish.
Hey, you got to toughen up, kid. The world's hard.
We weren't all beefy kids.
Get out there. No, that's what I'm saying. The world's hard. Toughen the fuck up.
I had to buy a wetsuit. They had to buy me a wetsuit and a rash guard because I was too tiny at the beach.
All I'm saying is it could have toughened you up a little bit, sent you out there in your pants.
I look like a little drowned rat.
Also, we got Ralphie, who, by the way, is a real shitty friend.
Yeah.
We'll get to
they're all
this
kind of shitty friends to each other, so it's...
Yes, but he is pretty bad. So we got Ralphie, then we got his best friend, seemingly Flick,
and Schwartz
lives next door, and then Schwartz, who seems to have been alongside the bully's sidekick, been just transported via Star Trek transporter from Brooklyn in 1944. Because this kid's like, oh, wait, my old man said that you don't got to do this thing. And I'm just like, who is this kid and why is he talking like this? We're in like the middle of America.
We're in Chicago.
We're in like small town America. And this kid comes up here like, oh, I got to dodge out of the way of some of these streetcars or something. This dame came up to my house.
Summer and it became his personality.
I got to tell you, I had never seen a dame like this one in my whole life.
Yeah. He's Joe Pesci's kid.
He is.
Also, a lot of the house scenes read like a stage play.
So true, yes.
The other ones not so much, but like it's so funny how like someone goes off stage and they're in the basement, but you can hear them clang, clanging, and then a puff of black smoke comes out. Like it just feels so stage show.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good observation. I love the bit with the teeth. I feel like this is a bit that this teacher
a harmless
found
prank
hilarious.
And a good-natured teacher.
Yep. Yeah. She is like kind of smirking at the front of the class, and you can tell like later she was like in the teacher's lounge with her mug of coffee and was just like, you won't believe what they did today. And
no, she put him in.
Oh, what?
I think she rinsed it.
Oh,
I think she rinsed it, and she did it for the other teachers.
Yeah, she's like, every single kid. They all did it. And then they all have like a good belly laugh about this. It's like, he can't even be mad about this. It's like, it's not a disruption. Nobody got hurt. It's all fine.
Exactly. I mean, technically it's a disruption because they all had to file up, put him in, but still.
She could have just said, everybody put them in your pockets and we'll begin. You know what I mean? She like
chose
put them
to do
in
the
the drawer. Yeah. Took much more time. So the other funny thing with this movie is I feel like there's like 3 or 4 scenes everybody remembers. Everybody remembers the lamp. Everybody remembers the tongue on the pole. Everybody remembers Santa Claus being a dick. And everybody remembers him shooting his eye out.
Yeah.
I feel like are the 4 things.
No. I would say bunny suit more than him actually shooting his eye out.
Okay, that's fine. But like, you know, some pretty big moments. So many of them are backloaded. Like, I couldn't believe I'm checking the runtime and I'm like, wait, we're still just visiting Santa Claus? There's only 30 minutes left of this movie. Like, we're just getting to Santa now?
And Pole is so early. Pole's like 10 minutes in.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, less than 20 for sure. It sets this up with the kids having clearly been talking about this for a while. That my old man said he saw... Yeah. My old man said he saw a guy get his tongue stuck to the train tracks. Then a subway came, ran over his head. Boom, popped it like a watermelon. Like this kid, I could not get over this weird Brooklyn kid in this movie.
Minnie Pesci.
Yeah, Minnie Pesci. But anyway, so we set up that we're gonna do this. No, I knew this was real when I saw it because I had my tongue get stuck to an ice cube and I freaked out about it.
Ice cube, yeah, but I did it once with our old freezer.
Whoa.
Not like it was not like this, but I was like very curious. So it was like a 90s freezer, so it had like the wide metal, like clearly metal things on the door to hold stuff in.
Yeah.
And I like opened it and I like no one was around and I like
no shit.
Got up on tippy toe and I like stuck my tongue to the thing. And it stuck. It wasn't strong. It was strong enough that I could pull myself away because it's not super ice cold like that because I opened the door. But yeah, I remember doing that and being like, ooh.
I remember the first time an ice cube stuck to my tongue like this and it freaked me out. And I like when I saw this in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's real. That is exactly how that would go. Yeah.
Well, I have ADHD. Or ADD, but I think they all say ADHD now. And sometimes impulse control is harder for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe suffer from a similar affliction. I understand impulse control issues. But yeah, Ralphie here is such a weasel. He's like, the bell rang. Sorry, gotta go in. It's like, hey, bud, you could be like, hey, Flick's tongue is stuck to the pole. He needs help.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to rat yourself out because he very correctly here in a minute, like the teacher's trying to get them to confess and he and Schwartz are like, yeah, we ain't falling for this shit, which is like the right move objectively.
Also, there are no recess monitors in this day.
Yeah. Well, it's 1940.
But I'm not saying like
we're lucky that as they filed out of the classroom, the teacher wasn't handing them cigarettes.
Fair. Okay. Chesterfield.
Like, hey,
Chesterfield cigarettes.
While you go outside, kids, make sure you get your lungs nice and opened up. Here, have a cigarette. Have a Chesterfield.
But like usually, I feel like it was always like, oh, I have recess duty.
We're lucky it wasn't Chesterfield High School.
Elementary.
Yeah, sorry. Chesterfield Elementary School.
Yeah. Their mascot is
doctors choose Chesterfield.
Their mascot is the smoking cigarette.
Yes, he is a cigarette who smokes other smaller.
Oh
cigarettes.
no, I just meant he was smoking.
No, both. It's both.
But don't worry, it's a live fire in the hat, but the whole suit's made of asbestos, so he'll be fine.
One of his like big tricks is he lights 10 cigarettes in his mouth at the same time and does like a big
like
smoke,
like fucking Austin Powers. Also, I always thought that that Flick was too good at screaming and crying because it feels just real enough.
It's very real. Yeah. Also, I love that they're like, much like the cigarettes, it's like, hey, we got the kid's tongue stuck off the pole. Should we take him to the hospital? Nah, put that piece of the pole over it and send him back into the classroom. He'll
wrap up his tongue for some reason.
Yes. Well, when he's first walking to his seat, it looks like he has the fake teeth in his mouth. Like he has this huge spiky thing, and then when they cut away and cut back to him, he has like the head wound wrap,
but on his tongue.
Yeah, but around his tongue. And after school, he still has it on his tongue. And he's like, "No, I'm fine. It's not a big deal at all."
He refused to name who told him to do it.
Yeah, he's not a rat. Ralphie, however, when he gets an opportunity to rat, fucking rats this kid
the wrong
right
kid out.
I know. It's like, if you're gonna rat on Scut Farkas.
Yeah.
Like, he's the bully, you know? That's like, I always, like, but also always made no fucking sense to me.
Melinda Dillon, you hear your husband. Like, you know,
right.
You know where he heard it. Stop playing.
You all giggle while he goes down and says the F word 30 times to the furnace.
Also, our grandmother always loved Flick. Flick who?
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just one of those random lines that she just loved.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk for 40 minutes about the name Scut, S-C-U-T, Farkas.
Well, I want to talk for 40 minutes about Zach Ward, who plays Scut Farkas, because he got hot.
He is very attractive now. I was shocked when I clicked on his IMDb that he was this good looking, and also that he hadn't done like 30 Hallmark Christmases.
No, he did like a different pivot, I feel like. He was in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
And did a lot of sitcom stuff. But there's a lot of shirtless photos of him on the internet and just...
Who does he play in Freddy vs. Jason? Is he like one of the kids that gets killed?
Kind of. So,
like, I'm just trying to match the ages. So he's 20 years later, so he's probably like the gang of 28, 30?
There's the gang of kids that are supposed to be quote-unquote 18. That it's...
Yeah.
Oh, what is that blonde girl's name? She was an undeclared, and I can't remember her name. Monica Keena. Like her and all her friends in Freddy vs. Jason. And then one of them had a brother who died. And when he falls asleep, he sees his dead brother in the bathtub. And his dead brother is Zach Ward.
Scut Farkas. Okay.
And also, funnily enough, every leading player's contract in this movie had a thing in there where they relinquished... Like the Warner Brothers had the rights to their likeness for merchandising. Zach Ward's contract, for some reason, didn't have this. It's just a weird oversight. And so they started producing shit with his face on it. And he said, no. And in 2011 sued them because they were making shit. And they were like, oh, well, it's a generic face. We've been doing this for a while. It's not your face. It's a generic face. And it's like, at Department 56 scale, who fucking knows? Right. And so it was settled out of court or whatever. And then like
I see their point on like Department 56 scale, but like I've seen a Scut Farkas t-shirt.
Oh yeah. And then I don't remember if it's a couple years or like 10 years later, someone at a Christmas Story event that he was going to handed him things to sign, and it was Christmas Story Monopoly with his face on it, playing cards with his face on it, and another figurine with his face on it. And he turned around and was like, what the fuck did I tell you? and I can't remember. He was like, I want all of this shit destroyed. Like, this is not okay. You didn't ask me. You didn't pay me. Yeah. And then I think they settled it out of court or something. But it was very much like, again, they had to be like, hey, you did the wrong thing.
Yeah. Cut me a big check.
This is what they were just very similar to what they were fucking striking about.
Yeah. The yellow eyes thing is a great detail in the description of this character. It does not hold up in HD. The guy Gene Shepard is like talking about he had yellow eyes. I swear to God, he had yellow eyes. But like it's HD, and so he clearly does not. And so it's just like they needed to give him some like painted on yellow eyes, I feel.
Yeah, this was not I feel like if they gave this poor child actor yellow contacts in this day, it would have been like awful and uncomfortable and probably toxic.
Yeah, I'm talking about you go in there with the little paint afterwards.
Because he has pretty squinty eyes. So like keep him in wides and be like, look, we're going to do 3 close-ups of this kid. Art department, get in there with your little yellow paint.
Yeah. His little toady, also a New York
always hated this kid. Like way more than Scott Farkas.
He's dressed almost exactly like Rocky Balboa is dressed in the first third of the original Rocky.
He also looks like he's about to sell papes.
Jacket.
Like he and Christian Bale.
Yeah, he is. He's a tiny newsie. But no, not a newsie. He is a newsie, but also much like Rocky, he's like a leg breaker. Like he goes in and roughs people up if they haven't paid.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or
I heard you
when people give the newsie shit for being on their corner, he shows up.
Sure.
Be like,
sure. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Brodusky, I see your market has a problem with my newsie here. Knocks over a display of oranges.
Hey there, Timmy. I heard you borrowed $1 last week to buy yourself a soda pop and something nice ice cream sundae for your girl. Well, guess what? It's been a week, so now I need $1.05 or I'm gonna take 3 of your toes. And he's got like a
cigarette cutter.
I was thinking of like a wire cutter, but sure, yes.
Or he's got the like Crayola plastic safety scissors.
Sure, yes. It's gonna take a while, but I'll get through it. We have that transition I talked about. They just like, anyway, on to other things.
Ralphie's writing about the Red Ryder BB gun, and my favorite thing is that he describes it as the carbine action, blah, 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 with the compass in the handle and this thing which tells time.
Yes.
Which, like, that's a clock.
Yeah, or a watch. Like
there's words for it. There's very common words for it.
Yeah. But it captures the kid energy of, like, excited, so excited you can't even,
that description is what's repeated throughout the movie, and I think it's so delightful.
Yeah.
Also...
this... Go ahead.
Good.
This part makes me so angry, where this fucking wordless husband and child are like, can I have some more? Can I have some more? And I'm like, Melinda Dillon, put the fucking pot on the table and sit down. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, I guess they want to keep it warm. Maybe technology, like pots didn't retain heat as well in 1940.
I mean,
it's the war.
Probably, but also who cares? Like, yeah, turn around and get more cabbage, husband. How have you eaten it already? I haven't sat down. You animal.
I feel like that's a very like sitcom-y approach to women.
Oh yeah,
making food and housewives.
Sure, absolutely.
But also, right before that, we get this moment of Dad comes home super excited because he won an award, and he's like jubilatious, and like it's a very delight to see him like this. And it's like, hey Ralphie, this is the moment where you ask for the present because he's in a really excellent mood. And feed into this energy, buddy. Just between you and me.
Mm-hmm. Gee, Dad, have you seen this Red Ryder BB gun? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Also, the little kid doing the pig noises and just so fucking disgusting.
I know. Our mom hated that scene.
I have always found it pretty gross as well. She hates it more, but I've always found it pretty gross. So we get the lamp delivery, and they ship a whole
melodramatic music. Like,
yes,
it seems like this is a mafia movie, and the knock on the door is a hit. Like, it's about they're all gonna walk to the door. It's gonna be machine gun fire through a closed door.
It's the toll booth in The Godfather.
Yeah, or
for those who get that,
or the filthy angels with filthy mouths, or
it's filthy souls.
Angels with filthy souls, angels with even filthier souls.
Yeah. Also, they ship this whole ass Dracula coffin to put this little lamp in.
It's a 7-foot by like 4-foot box for a 3 to 4 foot lamp.
It barely fits through a door.
A 3 to 4 foot lamp?
Yeah. Like, I understand packing materials were different back in the day, but they don't need to ship a Dracula coffin for this lamp.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the movie I want to watch. I want the first third to be a silly Christmas movie, and then the back 2/3 to be a Dracula movie.
That's how Dracula gets in the house. Is like they think it's I also had the thought of like Dracula being shipped in a crate where there's like just a little bit of sunlight peeping through, and he gets out of the crate and he has like a weird sunburn. You know how if you like put your glasses on, you get the
the red,
on the side
the
of your
white
face.
stripe.
Yeah, I want Dracula like getting out of the coffin with like a little splotch here and a little splotch there, like almost like Rocco's T-shirt on Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh yeah. I see that.
Also, Ralphie immediately goes full perv and is like stroking the buttocks of this lamp.
Yeah,
it's
the lamp
very weird.
It's high, like it's not a skirt. The lampshade is too high to be a skirt.
Yes,
like it's not that. It's weird proportions, we'll say.
Yes, yeah.
Also, what kind of fucking contest did he win? Like, it is never properly explained.
So I had the thought this time of, is this supposed to be the prize of the Lone Ranger's nephew thing that he just entered?
Oh, maybe.
But it's never explicitly stated that. So I think that is just supposed to establish that he's like always entering these contests. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there was a movie made that was, I think, based on a true story with a crazy title, like the prize winner. I want to say it's the prize winner of Defiance, Ohio. Like why that would be in my head if it's not this, but about a woman who was like always entering sweepstakes and winning them.
I've won a number of random contests. I won SpongeBob sweepstakes when I was little. It was in a Target.
What was that? What did you win?
It was the big SpongeBob like pillow plushie.
Oh,
and
also, from. Okay.
I think the alarm clock was part of that. And it was like shockingly a lot of stuff. And then obviously I've won 2 titles, but that's not really a sweepstakes.
That's not sweepstakes. Yeah.
But twice I entered things on Instagram and then forgot about them because they're really good for engagement. So companies do them all the time.
Yeah.
And then one time I was going through the like email, the USPS informed delivery email, and it was like, you have a thing coming. And I was like, what? Or no, maybe it was one of those like FedEx, something like I get the email telling me something's on the way. And it was like, you have a package coming. And I was like, I didn't order anything. So I checked and it was like coming from Kentucky. And I was like, Jack, did you order something? And he was like, no. And then I texted our family. I was like, did anyone buy me something? And they were like, I was like, no. And it got there, and it was Elijah Craig. I had entered their contest and won, and they never emailed me to tell me I won or DM'd me to tell me I won.
Yeah.
They just sent me shit, which is wild. It was like a hat that I wear is like just a doing shit around the house or working out hat, and a nice mixing spoon and a really beautiful like mixing glass with the pores, like beautiful like etched glass barware thing with the spout. It says Elijah Craig on it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I've wanted one of those for a very long time, and I was like, oh great, now I don't need to buy one.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. I won front row tickets to a basketball game, and then they told me that the tax bill was $400.
That's right. That's some more shit.
I was like, I don't think I want this actually.
Yeah, like why? That's taxes for that kind of bullshit. Are bullshit.
I don't think it's unreasonable for it to be taxed, but also the company could pay for those.
Why do you need to be taxed for winning tickets? It's not like it's not income. It's not like you're doing any like you got gifted an experience.
The face value of the tickets is allegedly like I think $1,000 a piece, which is why it was going to be
cool. You know who sets those prices?
Yes, I agree.
Bullshit CEOs set those prices to squeeze money out of people.
They very easily could have just given it to me without getting the tax man involved, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's the bullshit of it all.
Anyway, we get on the radio for the Lone Ranger radio hour, and then we follow that up with turning in our theme about the Red Ryder BB gun, and he has this like vision of the teacher being like A++++++.
Also, I would say, will they plug in the lamp and his horrifying massive wires before that?
Oh, yes.
They never put a bulb in this lamp. They literally, he puts the...
Did it not come with one?
No, when he pulls out the leg, there's nothing on top.
Oh,
he puts the lampshade on and puts it in the window and plugs it in.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the interim.
But the light is inside.
And on top. The lampshade's lighting up too.
Oh, okay.
So there's got to be a bulb on the top.
Oh, you're right. Plot hole, cinema sins. Wah, wah.
Also, I have a better... Mom breaks it later. I have a much better idea for you, Mom. We'll get there when we get there, but...
I do love her being like completely horrified by this lamp as he stands in the street and the entire street stops to see what the commotion is. That's your Bob Clark cameo, as I said. We turn on our theme and then it's time to buy a tree, so we go to the Christmas tree lot.
Love the smell of real trees, but boy do I love how easy artificial trees are even more.
Yeah, clean up. And also, not for nothing, but it's kind of a bummer. They like in this, I mean, obviously this has changed somewhat with the eras since this, but they buy the tree like seems like December 22nd, maybe, and then they decorate it on the 24th, and then presumably it's like out the door a week later. You don't really get a lot of time to enjoy it.
Oh, I think that was a thing in not necessarily, I mean, that era, yes, but I remember even our mom has said that she would go to bed Christmas Eve and wake up Christmas morning to a decorated tree.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what you just gave yourself, parents? Chores.
Yeah. I have always been like a you wait till after Thanksgiving person, but during COVID, we were bored and it was like, well, let's just put up the Christmas tree. And it happened to be the day after you change the clocks.
Okay.
The daylight savings, and it gets dark at 5 p.m. for the first day of the year. And having the Christmas tree, even undecorated, able to be turned on when it was that dark and miserable and shitty outside was a godsend.
Yeah, I usually do the Christmas overlay a week or two after Halloween.
The overlay.
Well, we do the Halloween overlay in like August.
Yeah.
And then we do the Christmas overlay like a week or two after Halloween.
I was just laughing at you calling it an overlay and not saying decorations. That's why I was laughing.
It's an overlay. It's the, my house is a theme park.
Decoration. Yes, for sure. So I love this tree lot guy. He's like a great riff on a sleazy salesman.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's like used cars, but here at the Christmas trees is fun too, I think. They have a little back and forth with Dad where he's negotiating the price here. He gets the rope thrown in for free. Just like the idea that this is something that you need to be thrown in is that this guy doesn't have a couple of coils of rope in the trunk is like, come on.
Now, did we? When we got when we went and sawed down the tree in the lot, near the old movie theater, did Dad bring the truck, or because I don't remember him strapping it to the like Griswold style?
My memory was that we put it on the roof, but maybe he brought the truck.
The truck makes more sense, but I also don't remember how long he had the truck for.
He had that little Ford Ranger forever, like it was like falling apart.
So maybe because I don't have memory of like
our
the
grandparents were usually with us.
On it.
Our grandparents are normally with us, so it's possible we took two vehicles anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, so maybe that was how. I don't remember that. I was pretty young. Well, I mean, I was probably about 12, but I just don't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to ask. Like maybe we went with the grandparents in their car, and then Dad and Mom took that
would make sense.
The truck.
Yeah, and then I would crawl under there and have to help saw, which was like
we all got
pretty
to do
hard
it.
chore.
It was fun.
But it's a pretty hard chore.
Oh yeah, well you don't do the whole tree. We each did a little bit.
I mean, I did probably a lot more than you. I would guess.
I mean, at some for part of it, yeah.
Given that you were 6 or 7 years, yeah, it's like I'm guessing that you did like a cursory back and forth twice, and it was like, all right, job done. You'll let everybody else get to it. I'm 6.
Did a few pushes and pulls.
Yeah, exactly. One push, one pull. So we pop the tire. We get another very memorable scene from this movie, which is helping Dad change the tire on the side of the road.
I am very proud of myself for knowing how to change a tire, and now I like forget that it's not an everybody skill. Because I don't remember. I probably told this story before, but who knows on the pod. My boyfriend and I were driving into the city for Halloween a couple years ago in full Halloween costume. We're dressed as the twins from The Shining, but rompers instead of dresses. So we're in these like tiny little blue rompers that I've added lace trim to, and like a pink like satin ribbon for a belt, and like spooky eye makeup. And he pops, his tire goes, and he was like, well shit, we have to turn it. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, what do you mean? Just change the tire. And he was like, I've never done that before. And I was like, oh, I can do it. So we pull into this fucking, like, not the greatest part of town, and also to be in, you know, a stupid Halloween costume.
What you're wearing. Yeah.
Changing a tire. And I was like, I'm just going to grip this, you know, tool very tightly and show, like, I'll beat the shit out of you. So there's a video of me, like, I was like, the gravel hurt. I was like, give me newspaper from your car so I can kneel on it to get your tire off.
Yeah. Yeah. My, the little iron that came with my car that I have used most recently to change a tire is like such a tiny nightmare to like actually take the things off with. It is always a huge pain in the butt.
That sucks. Yeah, it's never the big giant cross that they show in old things.
No, that's a one you probably had to buy yourself even back then.
Probably.
Yeah. Also, that thing always has like 4 different heads, and I'm like, it must be
sizes.
4 different sizes, but like most people don't need 4 sizes. They just need the one, you know? So he's helping Dad. Real flashbacks here of like, just know what I need without me saying it.
Yeah.
Really,
it's why I am the way I am now, where I anticipate I try to anticipate everyone's needs before they say it.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Grown inwardly is the suggestion to go help Dad, but all right, let's go do it.
Yeah. So I try to be very specific when I ask for things now. It's like, here's what the tool I'm looking for looks like.
I give very specifics, and I do specific repeat backs.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not mincing words here.
Yeah. He's holding the bucket, or it's not a bucket, it's the hubcap, but he's holding the hubcap. Then he
also just holds them in your hand.
Drops. That would make sense for an adult. I'm guessing this is like a tiny little kid hands problem.
I don't know.
This is probably 6 or 8 lug nuts, not just 4.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, do that
back then.
Pocket, or I don't know, gently on the ground.
I mean,
like, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, I'm putting them in this thing is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Like, you normally would just have this thing on the ground. It's more like a giving the kid a task that doesn't need to be done.
And then Dad hits it. Like, it's fully his fault.
Right. It is. And also the fact that this kid says fuck, and obviously it's fudge in the movie, and you know, this is a whole big thing. But like the dad, who we have seen do nothing but swear for this movie, going in the car and be like, guess what your son said, and whispering in her ear, and her being like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, what are we doing
That's
here?
What's annoying, that she reacts this way, and like, where'd you hear that? Where do you think?
Yeah.
Melinda?
Yeah. I learned it from watching you.
Yeah.
I learned it from watching you. You know, like, come on. But he, like, within seconds just throws his friend under the bus, which I find so insane.
And when his friend's mom on the phone, because we never see her, we just hear her.
Yeah.
I always thought she sounded like our old neighbor who lived behind us.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
I was like, how do I say her without saying her name? But like the way she screams on the phone.
A friend of mom's.
Huh?
Yes. Yeah. A friend of our
mom's and our mom's friend. Our friend's mom.
Our childhood
and a
friend
of our mother's. Yes. Combo platter. Had that kind of, her voice sounded very similar to me.
Yeah, I can see it. But yeah, Ralphie here is a true bastard. Like, one, if you're going to throw anyone under the bus, throw your bully under the bus.
Yeah, also, like,
2,
what is mom going to do then?
I mean, presumably she calls Scut Farkas.
I feel like that's a house you don't want to call. Like, that's the kind of house where, like, you hear, like, breaking glass and, like...
Yeah, well, that's another thing that a smart kid would do is, like, it was Scut Farkas, and the mom's like, well, I'm not surprised. And then she remembers that, like, we cut to the Farkas house, and it's actually One Magic Christmas, and she's like, you're losing your fucking job, stop building that fucking bike.
No, it's the Molly Monahan's house on One Magic. Like, it's not even their house. I don't think Scut Farkas's mom's given any shits about the family.
Sarah Polly's mom is like, we're poor,
Academy
Molly.
Award winner Sarah Polly.
Santa doesn't give gifts to poor kids. We get the soap blindness fantasy, which I think is the best fantasy performance by the parents.
Oh, I think so, for sure.
Very good here.
They have the most to do with it.
Yeah, and the big wailing, like, why did we do it? Is very nice. I love the teacher gift line, and then Ralphie showing up with this enormous.
How did the family afford this giant fruit basket?
It's implied that Ralphie did it.
With with paper out money? Like how? That's
I agree.
I think it's got to be a lot of money in 1940.
100%. That pineapple probably cost $1.
Yeah.
Like, which today is like $45.
Mm-hmm. Or if it's one of those stupid pink pineapples, they're 60.
Well, I don't think it was a pink pineapple in 1940. I don't think that had been invented yet.
No, probably not.
But the enormous shit-eating grin and then him winking at her is also like just really good. Mm-hmm. There's kind of like it's never said, which is a little surprising given the nature of the movie with the narrator, but it's kind of implied he's got a little crush on this teacher.
A little bit of a crush, yeah.
It's like not like a gross,
yeah. It's not a Mary Kay Letourneau situation.
Yeah.
That's her name.
I just said yeah. I mean, I know that name. And
I think that's
like
the
news scandal name, but I really
The Little Orphan Annie decoder pin.
I have to say the decoder ring is one of those things that seems okay, but decoder device is like something as a kid it seems amazing, and then the actuality is so far off from that. It's just like puzzle work.
Which is I liked puzzles as a kid though, so I didn't mind it.
I did too, but just like the idea of it being like, oh, it's my secret decoder ring, and it's like, well, it's not that hard to figure this out without the ring, right? You're just like syncing up letters and numbers.
The idea that Little Orphan Annie, little redhead, the sun will come out tomorrow, Annie, child of Daddy Warbucks and Bane.
Is that the same Little Orphan Annie? Okay.
Has a secret society of spies that she communicates with via radio.
Well, maybe it's like a Newsies thing.
This is a secret message from Annie. Don't tell anybody. So like Annie has a secret society of spies that she's singing to over the radio. Are you looking up to see if it's the same Little Orphan Annie? Do you not believe me?
I it's not that I didn't believe you,
but
I believe that you knew this true. I wanted to see if there was anything about the decoder ring and the radio program on the Wikipedia. Yeah, that's all.
It's basically because Annie was a comic strip, and a lot of the comic strips then translated to the radio.
Right.
And then got turned into a musical that I just don't care for.
Okay, hold on. Buckle up. In the Great Depression, the formula was tweaked. Daddy Warbucks lost his fortune due to a corrupt rival and briefly died from despair at the 1944 re-election of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
He died from despair? I thought they liked the Roosevelts.
Yes. Apparently not.
Mr. Roosevelt.
Annie remained an orphan and for several years had adventures that involved more internationally based enemies.
Enemies?
Yes, the contemporary events taking place in Europe were reflected in strips during the 40s and World War II.
Oh, the comic strip. Okay.
Yeah. Eventually, Daddy Warbucks was reunited with Annie, and his death was retconned to a coma, from which he woke up in 1945, coinciding with Roosevelt's real-world death.
That's weird, because I thought they met Mr. President.
Hold on, we're not even done yet. At this time, the series enlarged its world with the addition of characters such as Asp and Punjab.
Nope.
Bodyguards and servants to Annie and Daddy Warbucks. They traveled the world with Annie having adventures on her own or with her adopted family. So maybe, yes, Annie did have a fucking web of spies because this comic strip is not like, the sun will come out tomorrow. Well, it's like intrigue.
The Carol Burnett movie ends with Little Orphan Annie scaling construction equipment in the dead of night with a helicopter chase. Like, that's not the stakes of the rest of that musical.
Right. That feels pretty silly. We go back home. This is one of the really rough food scenes. Mom is like making this braised cabbage, but it's just like
watery ass looking cabbage stew.
And look, I love cabbage. It's one of my favorite vegetables. It's like a sneaky all-star to me. It's like you can do all these great things with it. You can
cooks really well.
Roasting it, phenomenal. Yeah. You can roast it. You can saute it. You can fry it. You can do all this wonderful stuff with it. Cabbage is great.
Bubble and squeak.
But a thing that I think is less good is to put like 16 cabbages in a large pot, cover it with water, and boil it into mush.
It was also red. So was it like a splash of wine?
Red cabbage.
Oh, red cabbage. Okay.
No, he says specifically, Ralphie's like, it's red cabbage stew. And she's like, it's for tomorrow. And I'm like, you're cooking it down to this and then you're going to reheat it?
I mean, hey.
It's baby food.
1940. Also, it always drove me nuts that Ralphie was, when he's doing the decodering, he's in the bathroom for like 0.02 seconds before they're like, Ralphie, we gotta get in there.
There's only one bathroom.
But like, it's not like he's been in there a while.
Right,
Literally locks the door, click, sits on the toilet, and then they start banging.
Yeah. I needed the part where he ran past Randy, who was also going to the bathroom.
There we go. That would have helped.
Mom then breaks the lamp.
She's got this like real sneaky looking face as she walks out of the room with her watering can. Again, like a fucking stage play. You hear it break.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But what mom...
And then she has like I don't know what happened.
What mom should have done was sneakily taken it out of the house, sold it for a lot of money, because you could have gotten a pretty penny for that tacky ass lamp from someone, some skeezy bar, whatever. And then been like, I've been taking up some sewing and I bought a new furnace. So he's like, where's the leg lamp? I don't know, but I bought you a new furnace.
Oh, yeah. The leg lamp probably is not furnace.
No, but that's the thing. It's like she's also like taking up sewing and other things, but like a good chunk of that could have been leg lamp.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Rather than breaking it, because again, it's 1940 and I'm sure you have money troubles.
Yeah, no, for sure. The Depression was just behind us. Scott Farkas and his little Brooklyn crony boy corner
Flick again.
And I don't like Ralphie sucks. What's happening, man?
Yeah, there's a post-credit scene where Flick realizes he can move things with his mind, and prom is very bad for the gang.
He just gives Ralphie a brain bleed, and he just
it's dead. Flick looking in a mirror that's vibrating until it shatters, and then cut to black.
Yeah. So we get a C+ on our theme. Ralphie's heartbroken.
Another vignette, and a daydream of the teacher is now the Wicked Witch, and his mom is a Harlequin.
Yes. And then we're on our way home from school. Oh, here's Scott Farkas again. And then I really related to this one, because this is like almost exactly what happened with me and the bully that I had when I was in middle school, which is that I went into a blind rage and punched him a bunch of times.
Look, I know violence, whatever. Sometimes a bully needs a swift, firm kick in the crotch.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you Scott Farkas never fucked with Ralphie again.
Or he might have fucked with other kids either. Like, he might have been like, well...
Yeah, this might have been the end of it.
This could have stopped it. Like, when those ants realize they outnumber us, our reign is over from Bug's Life.
Yeah. No, he made the bully into just a human.
So sometimes break a bully's nose.
Yeah. I don't know how I would handle this if it was, my kid and, some years down the road or whatever, should that ever happen. But like, I remember telling the story we just told to my editor at my first job. That I was just like, hey, violence is never the answer.
But except when it is.
It's the answer. Yeah. And who was like, what? And I was like, I had a bully and I beat them up and that was the end of the bullying. And he was like, well, what happens if the kid stands up to the bully and then the bully beats them up? I was like, then they've at least stood up to the bully.
Then they've done a thing.
Have at least done that. Yeah. But I also really related to the adrenaline dump that happens here with Ralphie, which is like, when you're young, you just like, you've not experienced that before. You just like, don't know what the hell to do with it. And just like the huge,
it's just cry. That's the answer. It's big feelings.
Yeah.
I have to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. And so but it was like, I had this like fight.
Was it on the bus?
Like immediately. No, it was right at the bus stop. Like I followed him off the bus stop, and I
was it your stop?
And when he turned around,
okay.
And when he turned around, I punched. The other time I did this, it was one stop early, and the kid who would not leave me the fuck alone, even after I punched him one time on the bus. I got off the bus next to his stop, and I yelled his name. When he turned around, I just punched him in the face.
Nice. Did you drop?
And then we rolled around on the ground. No, we just like rolled around on the ground. It wasn't like a big hero moment. And I walked home.
It wasn't the OC.
And I had a longer walk home.
You know what I like about rich kids? No. Nothing. Boom.
Yeah. I didn't just like KO a person. I punched him and then he punched me and then we rolled around on the ground, punching and kicking and whatever.
Also, there's no honor with bullies. Kick them in the dick.
Oh, I am constantly watching movies and people are not kicking people in the dick, and I'm like,
just do it.
My wife has gotten to the point where she's like, so if you're ever in a scuffle, and I'm like, get the dick with whatever elbow, knee, head, kick, whatever.
Reach
you can
a
do.
hand and squeeze. Like
I was like, attack the testicles. If I'm ever in an altercation and you can intercede by attacking the other person's testicles, do it.
Yes. Like, it's not that hard. And, like, screw honor. Screw honor and go for living.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes violence isn't the answer unless it's the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, I don't advocate for this, but like sometimes, it's functional. And also, like, as you said, Scott Farkas probably gets a beaten at home and has a
Scott Farkas probably has a horrible home life, but
yeah, like I'm imagining Scott Farkas is like mostly making his own dinner based on the sad cabinets as a single.
I'm guessing absent father and an overworked mother.
Yeah, probably an alcoholic in there,
or a dead mother and an overworked alcoholic father.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Like yeah, exactly. So I'm probably a sad home life.
And I bet the toadie's parents kind of like give him food sometimes.
Yeah. The toadie feels like a rich kid who is cosplaying as a tough.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Rich kid's house has 2 TVs.
Mm-hmm. As 1.5 baths.
Yeah. So mom to the rescue. She brings Ralphie home.
Also, him beating up Scott Farkas goes on so much longer than you remember.
Oh, it really does.
It's delightful.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But it goes on forever. And then when mom shows up, I love that she just like doesn't even look back at Scott. She just like walks her son away, and there's a bleeding bully just on the ground, which is what our mom would have done.
Mom should probably be aware of Scott Farkas, she probably knows who this is and is like, yeah, you're the piece of shit who torments my son. Tough shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, our mom would have had the same reaction, but...
Yeah. I love the little brother crying under the sink.
His little hidey
dad's
hole.
Going to kill Ralphie. Yeah. And mom's like, oh, dad's not going to kill Ralphie. Like, I got this.
Mom
don't worry.
Helps, like, not control Ralphie's emotions, helps, like, ease him down, get him off the ledge.
Yeah.
Are they eating off Fiesta-ware plates?
I didn't catch that. I was too preoccupied by her serving what appeared to be big scoops of kindergartner paste to her family.
I was thinking it was like mashed potatoes.
It's definitely mashed potatoes, but it comes off that thing. It looks like a tub of paste.
It does. Or hominy.
Yes, yeah.
Which is corn?
Also, the side dishes with this dinner are half pickles, sliced white bread, and a jug of milk. What a meal.
Pickles and white bread's not a bad meal for me. And mashed potatoes, honestly, not that bad.
Untoasted, I don't know, this is like nightmarish. Like just gross Wonder Bread and pickles.
I eat white bread.
I don't want this.
I mean, I eat the keto white bread, but I eat white bread.
Just like raw, not toasted?
Yeah. For a sandwich, put butter on it.
If I'm having like that kind of bread, it's going in the toaster. Santa finally happens, 30 minutes to go in the movie.
Mm-hmm. A mid-level parade.
With inexplicably Wizard of Oz in the Christmas
Wizard
stuff,
of Oz recently came out. It's 1940.
Okay.
Wizard of Oz was, I think, 39.
Okay.
And was, like Gone with the Wind was constantly playing. So it's not super surprising. Mickey's kind of surprising, but...
And then Mickey, like, feuding with them is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why is this crossover happening? Is this what happened when they closed the Great Movie Ride and put in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway?
This is exactly what happened.
Gee, y'all are getting evicted. It's my turn to be in here. And the monkeys were like...
Although it's not Dorothy, it's not an official Dorothy dress, which always weirds me out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like
some knockoff?
It's like a weird Leg Avenue knockoff. But after the parade, the characters just like wandering this Macy's.
Yeah.
And then they go up to the kid.
It feels like they're trying to go to the break room and it's just a long walk to it.
But it also feels like it's a local theater trying to drum up interest in their production.
Oh, sure.
And so like the Wicked Witch comes up to Ralphie and she's like, or whatever. And he's like, leave me alone. I'm thinking. And I was like, I've been there and I can feel in my bones what that Wicked Witch is feeling of like, look, and this is audience interact. Just if you fucking fine.
Yeah. Ralphie is in the mode that my childhood best friend was when we went to Tony Luke's, which is a sandwich place in Philly. Not one of the ones that are like famously mean, which there are some of those, but it's just like a cheesesteak place. And my poor friend was like rehearsing his order and practicing it to himself in line over and over again. He had some anxiety around this. And my memory is that he wanted to do it, not that Dad forced him to do it. It wouldn't have made much sense for that. Although I could see Dad fucking with this friend. I'd been friends with him for a long time. He was very much part of the family. But he got up there, had rehearsed his order in line the whole time, like whatever it was, cheesesteak, fried onions, and provolone, cheesesteak, fried onions, and provolone, and he got up there, panicked, looked at the menu, saw hot dog, blurted hot dog, and then basically ran away. Poor guy. But that's all I could think of here is Ralphie is like rehearsing and like Red Ryder BB gun with the thing that tells time in the handle. Red Ryder BB gun, the thing that tells time in the handle. I also really want to take a note here to talk about line management, which is that it is 9:00 when the store closes. Ralphie is jumping onto Santa's lap at 8:59, and there is 200 people in line. I don't know how many of them are actually kids and not just kids and parents.
Yeah,
but
it is
point stands.
Wild that they have not cut this line off. You got to give someone a sign. Give someone at the end a sign that says, "Hey, I'm done."
At 8:30 or 8:40 or something, you go, "This is it, no more."
Yeah, you figure.
Although get these kids through.
Honestly, a lot of times, the mall you like reserve a spot now, which is unrelated to the 40s, but
yeah. Also, these two people who are helping Santa are really flying through the kids. It's like
they are like aggressive and angry.
Kid lap down, yeah.
But it's not like it's Disney World where you, as long as you're in line by by store close, you get to see Santa.
Right.
Like they're not keeping the lights on in Macy's.
Right. Higbee's isn't open until 11:30 if there was a big Santa line.
Yeah. No.
So Ralphie goes blank, much like my friend, and instead of blurting out hot dog, says football, or Santa suggests a football, and he says yes.
Yeah. And then I will say,
grabs
just anecdotally, I know the trope of, mean, drunk, angry, unkempt. Man who hates his job is playing Santa, but in the real world, most people who play Santa like take it very seriously. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I have a friend who starts growing his beard in July to make sure it's the perfect length and coiffed and texture for Santa.
There's a pretty good documentary about the folks who do that.
Oh, really?
That I saw a couple years ago. I can't remember the name of it now, but yeah, Mick Foley, the former wrestler that I'm a big fan of, he has. I don't think he's done it for a couple of years now, but he would do the Santa thing and like dye his beard white.
Mick Foley
and do the whole
Mankind? No.
Yep.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Mankind was a Santa. How about that?
Yeah. He's like a big Christmas dork. He would take trips to that
Santa Land?
Yeah, thank you. As like he's like theme parks and stuff. There's a very funny story in his book where he takes this like hellacious bump and gets like thrown through a table and is like laying on the floor.
Like a bump.
And he said his first
not bump of coke.
No, like wrestling bump, like a fall.
Got it.
And he like goes through a table and lands on concrete and is like laying on the floor. And he said his first thought was like, "Oh shit, I have to walk around Universal Studios tomorrow. This is gonna suck." They were in Orlando, I guess. So Ralphie gets the boot as Santa tells him he'll shoot his eye out after he finally blurts it out on the slide. I like this, like steps up to Santa and then slide down,
it's
but
fun.
Impractical to the max.
Well, you would need a down staircase on the other side.
Yes. Also, it's a very elaborate thing to have built in your department store.
Well, I think that was like the thing, like you needed a draw.
No,
this was in the day of like make people want to come into your store rather than obligatory go into your store.
Right. Who are you? You're climbing up there. You're like, boy, it sounds like a lot of creaking and groaning of wood and metal, and all of a sudden, 8 people died when the Santa climb collapsed. We get the night before Christmas tree and some funny business, which I don't think I've thought too much about before in watching this, where the dad and mom are arguing over what color something is. And he's like, "I'm not colorblind." She's like, "I'm not colorblind either." And then he's like, "Well, the green one seems fine." And he's putting in a blue light bulb.
Yeah. Also, when did we stop replacing fuses? When did it become flip the breaker? And
I don't know. My first apartment, I was thinking about this watching this movie. My first apartment when I was living out in Frederick was 2010. And when I moved in, they were like, "Here's the fuse box, and there's a box of extra fuses.
Here's the actual fuse box, and then here is the fuse box on the wall."
Yeah. And they're like little. It's like when you get like when you get a very small jar of jam or jelly or like ketchup on like a in like a lunch box or something. I'm saying it for it's usually a takeaway it's like, oh, you ordered this sandwich and it comes with a tiny little jar of jam in it or something.
Yeah.
So it was like, they're about that big and it was glass and they would like explode. The glass would break. And the whole time I lived there, I was like, please never blow a fuse. Please never blow a fuse. Because then I was like looking online and like, I'm sure you've heard that there's like things you can do if you have like a broken light bulb, like put an apple on it or a potato. Yeah. And it was like doing that. And I'm like, so I'm going to be in the dark trying to jam an apple or a potato on this thing to unscrew it. It just sounded like a freaking nightmare. Well, I'm just saying, I'm in the dark trying to solve this problem. Like, it just seems like it would have sucked. So thankfully it never happened.
Yeah, I've never had that, but my first apartment, I was on the 3rd floor and the breaker box was on like the basement. And if I had the oven on and also turned on the microwave, it would flip the switch.
I had that problem in an old apartment, and I finally bitched to the landlord and they got the socket rewired.
I didn't bother because my landlord was useless. But I would have to then sprint down 3 flights of stairs to go flip the switch and then run back upstairs.
Yeah, that's a huge pain in the ass.
Uh-huh.
I had to do the same thing.
Yeah, my landlord's the same one that when I went, hey, there's a hole in one of the plastic built-in shelves in my shower. And he was, well, where is it? And I was like, the one with the hole. Like, send someone over. Like, he was like, I have to tell him which side. No, you don't. Tell him there's a hole in the fucking shower.
It's the one with the hole.
The one with the hole in it.
Also, like, the person's going to talk to you when they get there.
No, I don't think they were. They weren't going to be there. I wasn't going to be there. But, there's one shower in this apartment.
It's the one with the hole.
The one with the hole.
Yeah. So it's Christmas morning, or Christmas Eve. They send the kids to bed. There's this great line where the parents, like, kind of listen for the kids' footsteps. And then dad's like, all right, let's get him. As in, like, let's grab the gifts so we can go to bed. Yeah. More of that, like, the parents, their thing is a little different than the kids. Christmas morning, Randy ends up falling asleep
and is stealing presents.
Yeah.
We'll have to clip that video of me pulling something out of your pile and mom and dad going, hey, is that yours? And then me freezing and throwing it over my shoulder back over to you.
Also really like that Randy ends up falling asleep in the pile of presents next to a giant Frankenstein.
I've never noticed the Frankenstein mask until this viewing.
It's pretty awesome. It must be one of those Don Post masks.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
They're all kind of sitting on the couch. Mom and dad are having a glass of wine. I can't tell what time it is. I'm assuming it's like 8:55.
Yeah, it's got to be that because that's what happens with little kids. They wake up so early.
Yeah,
but like it feels like 3 p.m., but it's only 9 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is supposed to be 3 p.m. because the turkey is like coming out of the oven and is almost done.
Maybe I was like, it's not quite time to watch The Family Man in the Leno house.
Yeah,
which was like a 9 p.m. Christmas Day situation.
Sure.
I don't. Also, that's a decent holiday movie.
Yeah, it's all right.
You don't like that movie?
I'm not wild about that movie.
Is it just because it's a retread of Wonderful Life?
I mean, it's not that. It's like there's like a weird conservative thing in some of those movies where it's like Nick Cage seems to have like a perfectly happy life as a rich individual single man, and then it's like, oh no, you would actually only be happy if you had a wife and kids and lived in the suburbs.
But wasn't he an asshole first?
Yeah, but like plenty of assholes are happy.
Yeah, but being an asshole is not a good person.
I didn't say he was a good person. I just think like he was fine. Like he was not unhappy in his life. And it's like, no, actually the only way to be happy in life is to live in the suburbs and have a wife and 2 children. I find a little bit tedious.
I mean, yeah.
Whatever. I'm a Grinch. What do you want?
It's heteronormative, but sure.
It's conservative. There are plenty of hetero people who don't have children. It's very conservative. It's like the weird, I watched American Pie with my wife who thought she had seen it but hadn't. And then I watched a couple of those sequels because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Gross.
Those movies are like super conservative. Like 2 of them marry their high school sweethearts and one of them marries the girl he went to college with. Like these movies are like raunchy sex comedies that have this weird conservatism streak stuck in there of like, no, I fell in love when I was 17 and I've been with that girl, which is fine. I'm not judging anyone who did that. Yeah. But it's just like very funny. These like raunchy sex comedies are actually about how like you should have found your partner when you were 17 or 18. Anyway. Dad has the secret gift, which is a really nice moment.
A real
here.
breach of relationship trust for mom and dad.
Mom is very upset. Yeah, this is a big no.
Also, Dad,
he's like,
you saw what happened when Mom didn't like the lamp. So
yeah, that's fair.
This Red Ryder BB gun's getting snapped in half tomorrow.
Yeah. Although Ralphie says this is his favorite present ever, and he doesn't seem like that happened. So, also Ralphie, in addition to being a snitch and an asshole, is very dumb because he gets a metal sign and tapes this piece of paper to it.
But that's also the 40s. Like, what do they give it? Tell babies to smoke cigarettes, and who knows anything about safety?
If I had spent a whole movie having people tell me that I was going to shoot my eye out, I would be very careful not to shoot my eye out on the first shot that I took.
Also, like, you'll shoot your eye out as an iconic line from this movie, but, like, nobody talks about the fact that it's right. Like, the moral of the movie is it is a dangerous toy that injures you.
Yes.
No one talks about that.
Yeah, well, like, the moral of the thing is like, oh, gee, wasn't life better when things were simple and we let kids do this? That's sort of what this movie
Drink
is.
from the hose. That's what y'all love to talk about you did back in the day. We drank from the hose and didn't tell our parents where we were. I'm like, that's great that you didn't die in a sewer. I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's much the same as the dipshit people who are like, I was beaten as a kid and I'm fine. It's
you?
Well, are you? I'm not sure.
Sure, you're in finance, but are you in therapy?
Yeah. Ralphie hits this metal sign with a BB, bounces back, hits him in the face, breaks. He does a classic move in movies, but I feel like anyone I know who was in this situation who wore glasses is like, do not move.
Yeah.
You sweep with the hands.
I mean, if your eyes are that bad that you can't possibly see the shape of glasses, yes. But I think it's because it's snowing that he's not he's not in full snowsuit.
Right.
So,
but it's still, this is the point at which you yell out, I can't find my glasses, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you haven't had the BB gun mishap, but of course he busts his glasses. I'm very confused I know it's just an actor doing some business, but the mom is like seemingly trussing this turkey, like tying it up with string after it's mostly cooked.
It's got an hour left. And I was like, that bread looks done to me. I'm not a cook.
This is a classic, I bet they're following the FDA recommendations of the time, which were like, you should take that turkey to 180 degrees. And now they're like 160.
Yeah.
It's like a big difference.
You should char that
This is
turkey.
why everybody thinks turkey sucks. Everybody eats overcooked turkey. Almost everybody overcooks their turkey.
But also, like, on Thanksgiving, they're stuffing.
I like turkey, though. As I'm saying, people are like,
it's not my favorite,
turkey.
but turkey gets made, like turkey breast, when a turkey gets made other times of the year. Stuffing doesn't get made other times of the year.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, I couldn't figure out why the turkey was done at 11 a.m. Also very weird.
But then they went to dinner. And it looked like dinner time.
So maybe it was, I think the 3 p.m. theory is correct here.
Also, it's a stupid lie he comes up with, but such a little kid lie that an icicle fell off the garage. Which is plausible. Like, it's very plausible. Fell off the garage and hit you in the face and broke your glasses? Like, what is it?
I mean,
Tex Avery cartoon?
Icicles can be pretty wicked.
Really?
Yeah, man. You remember they would get like huge off of the side of our house and we would like throw things at them and knock them off? They'd be like 2 feet long. Like, that's heavy.
Yes, but I didn't see any of those. I didn't see any 2-footers in this movie.
Well, I didn't see any icicles in this movie.
It's
nonsense.
That. Very that.
And it's funny because Bob Clark is very familiar with what you can do with an icicle.
It's not an icicle. It's a unicorn figurine.
I thought they kill a girl with an icicle in the eye in the original Black Christmas.
I'm pretty sure it's the unicorn figurine in the eye, but maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like I remember it being an icicle. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched
a unicorn horn made of glass. Looks like an icicle, so maybe that's what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Anyway, these neighbors with the dogs.
I don't like that Ralphie breaks the fourth wall here. It's the only time he does it. Wink.
Yeah, agreed. It is weird.
Don't do Ferris Bueller in the last 5 minutes of your movie.
Yeah. The other thing though, the neighbors' dogs, like these are the biggest asshole people. These are probably right. Well, they just seem to always be able to do so.
Well, before they were following Dad in. Are you looking up Black Christmas icicle?
I am. Yeah, I am. Black Christmas 2019 says icicle murder. Black Christmas 2006 says icicle. So maybe I'm thinking of one of the remakes.
Probably. Because the 2016 one was the one that like was very or 2019 was like aggressively about like toxic masculinity on college campuses.
Yes. 100%.
Like literal toxic masculinity. They were poisoning themselves.
Yeah. It's a pretty good movie. I honestly, the 2006 one is yucky, but I think I would probably remember
2006 one has
a little
skin
more fondly.
cookies. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's yucky. It's really yucky.
Because everything was mean and glossy from 2003 to 2008.
Yeah. But, it's possible that a triple bill of all three movies would be kind of a fun thing to do. Just thinking out loud, that's all. Anyway, I give up.
No icicles at 1974's Black Christmas. 76? 74? 74.
It's 74. Keep going, and I'm going to look at this listicle of the worst icicle deaths in films. You know what I might be thinking of? There's a wicked icicle to the eye in Die Hard 2, which I just watched. So it's possible that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, John McClane kills a guy with an icicle to the eye.
Die Hard 2 the one with Samuel L. Jackson? Or is that the third one?
No, that's 3.
Got it.
2 is the one with the plane Holly can't land at Dulles. It's not very good. Anyway, I never noticed this before. The dad's like, well, we're going out for dinner.
Very pragmatic for the dad. Like the dad who's shown to be like explosively angry all the time is like, well, going out to dinner. Come on. Don't clean it up. Just leave.
The place is called Bowlings, BO space LING, but the sign says bowling. And I can't tell if that was like someone being clever and repurposing the existing AMF bowling sign, or if they asked for a bowling sign and they were like, sure. And then they got there and it was a neon sign that said bowling.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they just don't light the W.
Maybe.
We get some really, not aged well jokes laughing at the accents of the people.
Don't love
China.
The joke that Asian people can't say the letter L. Not lovely.
Yeah, or R. Not particularly funny in this day and age, but cracking up the people in 1940, of course. And then we get an absolutely gorgeous Peking duck here.
It looks beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Chop the head off. I've never had like a whole duck. I mean, I don't get crazy at Chinese American restaurants, but I never had that.
I have ordered a half. A whole is like a lot of food, and I usually want to try other things.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But this feels like an upgrade over the turkey,
also,
honestly.
shocked that the restaurant is empty. Are there no Jewish people in Chicago?
No, it's 1940. They're not in Chicago. You keep saying Chicago.
He's reading the Chicago Times.
Yeah, but they're not in Chicago. They're in like the deep burbs.
Well, I mean, they're close enough to Chicago that they're reading the Chicago Times.
Their street is Cleveland Street. Anyway, I think the duck is an upgrade over the turkey.
Yeah.
And then we get a really nice moment with mom and dad as the kids are like going to sleep. They just like kind of sit together, catch their breath, and watch the snow fall. It's very sweet.
By the Christmas tree light.
Yeah. This is like a every 5-year watch for me, I feel like, is probably about the schedule I want to be on.
That seems
more
fair.
or less. It's a light recommend. I think there's like way worse Christmas movies. There's obviously way better ones as well, but there's a lot to enjoy about this. And I like, as I said at the top, this like sort of warts and all Christmas thing I think is kind of sweet. So I appreciate that. I think it's kind of like nice that it's not too saccharine and also not too sad bastardy, which I feel like happens most of the time.
Yeah. It's obviously saccharine in a sense, but it's not, cotton candy.
Right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Merry Christmas. It came out on the day of, and for those who don't celebrate, we're way late for a happy Hanukkah, but happy Hanukkah, happy holidays to whatever you celebrate, and happy New Year. We'll be back in a couple of weeks in January We're going to be spending January revisiting some franchises we've spent time with before, starting with Amityville 1992. It's About Time. But anyway, check us out on Facebook. Visit us on Twitter at Dissect the 80s. Say hello to us there. Always appreciative of those. Review the show if you haven't, wherever you do that. We read those on the air. If it's not on Apple Podcasts, you should send a screenshot to dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. And most importantly, go over to patreon.com/dissectingthe80s and check out some of the cool bonus episodes we've had. We had Halloween on Halloween. We had a cool Nickelodeon extravaganza that is also dropping today for those listeners. So check that out there. And see all the cool stuff you can get. And we will see you in 2024. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I've been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next year.
Pod bless us, everyone.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.